Greeks shape bronze statues so well, they seem to breathe. They compose great orations, and measure the heavens so well, they can predict the rising of stars. But you, Roman, remember your great arts, to govern the peoples with authority, to establish peace under the rule of law, to conquer the mighty, and show them mercy once they are conquered. Rome brings its might upon the Greeks. Slowly, but inexorably, the superpower takes control of the entire Hellenistic world, making it part of the sprawling superstate. It came, however, as some argue, not as a ruthless conqueror, but as an assimilator, with open arms to accepting the maintenance of local customs and the final amalgamation of Latin and Greek cultures. One curious melting pot happened when Greek coinage was taken over by the Roman newcomers. The Greek system worked so well locally, the Romans did not impose their system, instead choosing to give it their own visual and propagandistic treatment. And this is what we'll look at today, on the 4th episode of the Tetradrachm. Repeatedly throughout history, we see a conquering people trying to replace long-standing traditions and institutions from another population and being met with resistance and eventual failure. The Romans are, on the other hand, a case of surprising understanding, compromise, and adaptation to the peoples that came under their sphere of influence. If not always, at least it happened often. By the time they started influencing the Greek world on a more intense way, the Hellenistic monetary standard based on the silver drachma, its fractions and multiples, was established for centuries. Being such a rich region, it was in Rome's best interests not to wreak havoc on the economic system in place. This leads us to the very first coin of this video, which shows how tactful the Romans were on asserting their dominance in a, let's say, respectful way. The Macedonian kingdom, original homeland of Alexander the Great, was ruled by the Antigonid dynasty when the Romans arrived. Their coinage typically depicted a hoplite shield with the bust of a deity on the obverse and an oak crown with an allegory and inscriptions on the reverse. The Romans, after effectively taking Macedon and declaring it a protectorate, divided it into 4 merides, or administrative regions. Some of these were given the permission to mint their coinage, and the design chosen aimed to respect the present tradition, as in giving an air of continuity and normality, instead of sending a message of a new administration in place. On the obverse, we can see the Macedonian shield with the bust of Artemis. This is one of my favorite ancient coin designs. It's of an elegance I just can't get tired of. This particular example was minted in the city of Amphipolis, circa 167 and 149 BC. The reverse keeps the oak crown, just like the previous issues, with the club of Hercules dividing the central legends, which translate roughly to "from the first Macedonian MERIS." It also has a series of monograms and control marks all over it, used to control and manage the coin issues by the mints. As we move in time, we see the absorption of Macedon into an integrated province of the Roman Empire. The region became a staging area for the Romans to project their power on the easternmost parts of the Greek world, and started to recruit local mercenaries to supplement their own forces. The 1st century BC saw the Romans getting in conflict with the Thracians and with Mithridates VI of Pontus. Rome typically paid their own troops with the well-known republican denarius, but on a show of tactful politics, they decided to pay their mercenaries with a new, locally minted tetradrachm every Macedonian could see, recognize, and accept as one of their own coins. Let's look at this curious example, minted in Thessalonica around 90 BC. On the obverse, we can see the legend saying, "From the Macedonians," even though it was minted by a Roman authority, with the bust of Alexander the Great. Once again, a very intelligent choice of design, respecting the locals and avoiding any distasteful designs to be inserted. The reverse finally makes a reference to the Roman authority in charge. We have a laurel crown around the central features, and the name of the financial authority responsible for minting of this coin, a questor called Aesilas. So you can notice three objects under the name. These are a cista mystica, a basket used on religious ceremonies, the Club of Hercules, and a cella, the seat senators used on meetings. These three objects, one of mystical nature, one with militaristic and powerful connotations, and the last one of a more political tone, are a very gentle but quite strong statement of power by the Romans over the Greeks. Notice how the icons of supernatural power, military power, and political power are next to the Roman side of the coin, not on Alexander's side. One could say I'm exaggerating this fact, but I would argue these are displays of soft power, and examples like these are a trademark of Roman coinage on foreign territories. As time went on and Rome went from a republic to an empire, the region of Asia Minor has always been a hotspot for commerce and used its own type of tetradrachm, called a Christophorus. Augustus, the first Roman emperor, issued fantastic coins throughout his reign. I believe many of his pieces were masterpieces of state propaganda, passing very complex messages with minimal use of words and simple visuals. This particular Christophorus, struck at Ephesus around 27 BC and 14 AD, different from the previous coins I've shown, doesn't make much of an effort to appease locals. Augustus is the uncontested leader, and the idea is very clear. Rome is the hegemonic power now. On the obverse, we can see a simple bust of the man in charge, Augustus, with the legends Imperator Caesar. If you collect Roman coins, you typically see tons of titles and very long legends on most of them. Augustus, however, is always very to the point, resulting on some very elegant coins with minimal designs. The reverse features the legends Augustus, and the Capricorn, the half-goat, half-sea creature that symbolizes the astrology sign. The Capricorn is very common on the coinage of Augustus, which is actually odd, considering Augustus is supposed to be a Libra. Theories point to the fact maybe his moon sign might have been Capricorn, and he capitalized on that as the Romans considered those born under the sign to be austere, competent, and diligent leaders. The Capricorn can be seen holding a cornucopia, the horn of plenty, which is quite adequate for one of the wealthiest regions of the empire. The next tetradrachm represents a significant jump on time, more than 200 years. The city of Antioch in the province of Syria was the third largest city of the empire. The great commercial port that connected Rome to the Eastern Silk Road, as well as the staging area for many campaigns against Rome's eastern enemies, such as the Parthians and the Sassanids. If you are curious about getting your first provincial tetradrachm, these represent some of the most abundant and affordable options out there. Struck under Philip the Arab at around 249 AD, this tetradrachm is of clear imperial style, which implies it was minted to pay for Roman public employees or supposed to be shipped to the frontier to pay for the many legions stationed there to keep the borders safe. On the obverse, we can see the bust of Philip, with the legends that translate to Imperator Caesar Marcus Julius Philippus Augustus, Philip's full imperial title. The reverse features this gorgeous imperial eagle with its wings open, and the legends not only reinforce some of Philip's imperial titles, but also make reference to a local senate on Antioch that approved the issuing of the coin. So the full legends would translate to something like tribunician power and consul for the 4th year, as approved and issued by the Antiochian Senate. And finally, we head to the very end of the long and marvelous history of the Tetradrachm. At the city of Alexandria, the second biggest city of the empire, where under the reign of Probus, around the year 276, this very debased Tetradrachm is a pale shadow of the former glory of this once impressive denomination. The obverse features a simplified bust of the emperor, with the legends translating to Imperator Marcus Aurelius Probus Augustus. The reverse is quite interesting for a couple of reasons. First, we can see this coin was used as an ornament at some point in the past. I love these kind of marks that show the past of a coin. In this case, it must have been fastened to some piece of clothing, as to show the bust of the emperor forward. Maybe someone who particularly liked the Emperor Probus just used this in their uniform or their armor. If we ignore the central hole for a second, the actual allegory on the reverse features Dikeosine, quite an unusual figure on coins. She was the incarnation of honesty, fair dealings, and good conduct on daily life. Since such a coin would only be able to purchase everyday goods, we could see this allegory here as a friendly reminder of the state to its citizens. Something like, be nice to your neighbor, don't cheat anyone, be fair and just, and all of the blessings of the gods shall be upon you. It wouldn't be long until Diocletian, just 20 years later, would reform Roman coinage and end all provincial denominations in favor of a unified imperial monetary system. After 800 years of history and countless works of art in coin form, the Tetradrachm would finally go out of circulation, having its last member of the family be nothing but a simple, humble bronze coin. What about you guys? Have you got a Roman Tetradrachm? They are reasonably common and are great entrance to the world of Tetradrachms. I couldn't recommend them enough. So, let me know in the comments, what do you think of the coins you've seen today? And don't forget to subscribe and leave a like so we can keep bringing cool coins to YouTube. See you all soon!